Today on the Morning Edition, Indigenous people took center stage at COP30 this year in Brazil with historic firsts for Indigenous rights and climate change both happening. We have those details. Plus, we take an in-depth look at the recovery efforts in Kipnuk, what challenges they're facing, what progress is being made, and when some might be able to return to their homes. And later, 2 officers from Texas are being hailed heroes as they rescue a man from a burning car, all caught on body camera. We'll take a look and hear from the officers directly and what their actions meant to them. All of this and more as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us, inching ever so closer to Thanksgiving.
I bet you people are already food prepping.
Hopefully you already got your turkey out if it was in the freezer, because it's probably too late at this point.
Take a couple of days to thaw out. Well, yeah. We do have some pretty chilly conditions as we talk about this morning's weather across the state of Alaska, but look at that. That's what the fog does. It makes things look so pretty, all those ice-coated trees. You know, it's out of the Kipnuk area, so thank you to Brenda Zelenak for sending that in. Let's get to our headlines. Get this, foggy days won't be missed. So temperatures begin the upward climb, and we'll still see some strong winds across a section of the Aleutians as we go through the day. But let's check out those temperatures across the Anchorage metro area. Single digits are showing up. It's 11 here in Midtown, but as we move out toward Campbell Creek Science Center, 3 degrees below zero. It's just 2 above in Muldoon, with Eagle River currently at 7 degrees. And our hourly forecast will see high temperatures eventually make it into the teens. We'll still also see some sunshine, provided that fog will clear. But we are seeing temperatures that will rise to the upper teens across the Anchorage metro area. On the big picture, we have areas of low pressure swirling just south of the state over the Aleutians. That's one place that they'll see winds that could gust up to 60 miles per hour. Some of these coastal areas could see some increasing clouds, and they're going to see decreasing showers over southeast Alaska. How nice is that? Back into the south central region, a chilly start to our day. Areas of fog still hanging around, but less so than yesterday. But you'll still probably encounter some areas of low pressure, fog. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast. We're going to go up to 19 degrees today. Keep that sunshine in the outlook. On Wednesday, a few more clouds drifting in, and then on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, a high temperature of 29, a chance that we could see some snowfall in the Anchorage area. It's a slight chance, though. I'll have more coming up a little bit later.
The 30th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention, or more easily referenced as COP30, was last week in Brazil, and there, Indigenous people and their way of life took center stage. Joe Allgood spoke with one of the representatives of the Arctic's Inuit populations, who said they saw some significant and historic firsts in the discussion of Indigenous rights and climate change.
In Brazil, surrounded by the world's largest rainforest, world leaders, climate activists, and Indigenous people discuss the future of the Amazon, the Arctic, and everything in between.
What we keep focusing on here is that what we do in the Arctic affects the rest of the world, and what happens in the rest of the world affects us.
Representing over 180,000 Inuit people from Greenland, Canada, Russia, and Alaska, Sarah Olsvig fought for Indigenous rights at COP30.
And we have to make sure that these international negotiations also take into account our needs and our rights as Inuit, as state leaders are, working so hard these weeks to find solutions to these challenges.
Here in Alaska, Jackie Schaefer is one of the many people of Inuit descent working with Olsvig.
And if you consider the Arctic, the Yedama permafrost, the cooling system of the planet, and it's breaking down, we have a problem, and it's a global problem.
Member states of the Paris Agreement settled on a, quote, just transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, including a specific provision for Indigenous consent during resource development.
It's a historic standalone paragraph affirming the rights of Indigenous peoples.
But, Olsvig said, much was left on the cutting room floor, leaving out significant safeguards.
And yet, we find common ground. We can mirror ourselves in the challenges we face and the violations we've been through. and the fact that we still come to these meetings and we still stand with our head held high.
The common thread is hope. I think especially Indigenous people who still practice their cultures, they bring hope to the table because they still interact with nature in such a harmonious way that itself is hope.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
In reference to the Paris Agreement to transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, the U.S. pulled out of the agreement during President Trump's first term in office, re-entered the agreement during President Biden's term, and is set to pull out of the agreement once again on the 27th of January of next year. It's a race against time in Kipnuk, a village destroyed by Typhoon Halong. Winter has set in, making it challenging to transport people and construction materials. All this while community members are desperate to return to their homes. Crews, construction material, equipment, all brought in on planes and helicopters. The effort to return community members to the flooded community, which has now frozen over, and now potable water is running low. Efforts are underway to get a permanent reverse osmosis machine to Kipnuk to turn the salt water into drinking water. But construction superintendent James Morris says that will take several months.
The school water treatment plant is the only source of water right now. So the school has a finite amount of raw water. That's the water reservoir out there. You can kind of see the fence. When the wave came, it took salt water and put salt water inside the reservoir, which salt water is hard to treat. The biggest limiting factor right here is where are you gonna drink? I mean, right now we don't, we're on like a water rationing. Like I have to tell people don't take showers for days. We can't do laundry and it's difficult because of that.
The goal is to get everyone back home, but for now, construction managers say there is not enough power or water to bring people back, and many of the homes that floated off their foundations remain where the floodwater left them. This is the reality facing leaders trying to balance safety with getting those from the community who want to come back home. Well, during part of our in-depth report, Augusta takes us inside a Kipnuk home now frozen from the flood. And in just over in Bethel, after Bethel Public Radio and TV station KYUK announced they were cutting more than half of their full-time positions, the station's general manager now says without permanent funding, continuing current operations would be, quote, irresponsible. General Manager Kristen Hall tells Alaska's news source without guaranteed funding every year, the job cuts had to be made. Senator Dan Sullivan's staff says after a deal was negotiated, KYUK is set to receive more than $1 million in federal funding, and they say that should be enough to keep the station operating for the next year. But Hall says the one-time nature of that funding is the issue she has to address. KYUK provided much of the local coverage following Typhoon Halong and serves 56 communities across western Alaska. Extended coverage, including where those federal funds currently stand, is live right now on our website or mobile app. In the interior, an investigation update from Alaska State Troopers on several major crimes, including 2 homicides in Fairbanks from over the weekend. During a press conference Monday, troopers say this level of violence is forcing them to shift valuable resources.
Outside the municipality, for instance, of Anchorage, we don't see 2 murders with 2 attempted murders alongside the murder of a 15-year-old less than 30 days ago in such close proximity in time and distance. So it is somewhat rare for this region.
Troopers say several investigations are ongoing. You can visit our website for more information on each of those cases. A district judge has moved to dismiss the eviction of Telephone Hill residents in Alaska's capital city. The Juneau property was set to be demolished to allow the city to move forward with plans to build around 150 units of affordable housing. The judge ordered the evictions to be heard alongside a lawsuit being put forward, arguing the neighborhood should remain intact and be designated a historic district. Catherine Fritz is a retired architect, and she says she isn't sure if the land can hold what the city imagines.
I really question if this is really viable when you really start designing with the limited amount of land that is there, the need for public access for emergency vehicles, fire and police rescue, this type of thing. I need to be convinced that that site can support 155 units.
A Juneau Assembly member disagrees with that assessment, saying that the land is right for the project and that this is an opportunity for the city to, quote, move the needle forward.
This is a really unparalleled opportunity to move the needle forward in a meaningful way to do this in this location. The zoning is good. The amount of land is good. There are utilities and electric already there.
The court has yet to schedule a lawsuit for a hearing. Be sure to keep an eye on our website and mobile app as this story develops. Still ahead today here on the Morning Edition, the Food Bank of Alaska is making sure hundreds of Anchorage families have a holiday feast. We'll show you the efforts to feed our community and where you can still find a Thanksgiving meal.
Yes, good morning, Alaska. It's Tuesday morning. Here's a look at those daylight hours for today. Anchorage's sunrise, 9:32. You should be able to catch that. And the sunset at 4 p.m. We'll have more on that forecast situation across Alaska up next. Well, good morning, everyone. We are looking at some colder conditions this morning. Kristen, did you feel it out there?
Yeah, and we've got some fog out there, Jackie.
Dense fog in spots. In fact, we have another employee that was just arriving, and he said it was so thick at one point, he was kind of guessing he was on the road. That's a little scary. But you can see our Anchorage temperature there, 9 above. 4 above in Fairbanks. In fact, all of these temperatures are above. And there's the commute happening outside Palmer. Palmer at 5 degrees, and our Juneau cam showing some wet roads. They're at 34 degrees. So that's a dicey situation when you've got those low temperatures and wet roads. So be careful all across the state if you're on the roads this morning. Here's a look at some of those winds. Still strongest in the vicinity of these areas of low pressure. They're swirling past the Aleutians, some of that pushing into the Gulf of Alaska. But mainland Alaska is generally on the calmer side, although colder as well. These are the current temperatures: 4 in Fairbanks, 0 in McGrath, as well as Kotzebue. Single numbers showing up, but check out Nome. They're at 25 above. Farther south, it's 41 in Cold Bay, 40 degrees in Unalaska. They're going to stay above the freezing mark. But back into southeast Alaska to the east, they're seeing temperatures generally above freezing into the 30s as we start off our day. Satellite and radar shows that swirl of low pressure. You can pick it out right here across the Aleutian chain. Around Cold Bay to Unalaska, you could see some of those gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour, at least through Tuesday morning, this morning. And for Panhandle locations, decreasing showers. They'll actually get some better conditions, some sunshine coming their way. Into the interior, a special weather statement. This is for later in the week. They're going to see some gusts up to 40 miles per hour, which will cause some blowing snow conditions, and that's along that highway transportation corridor that continues up to the north slope. South Central, on the quiet side, there's a few clouds just to our south. That's where all the storm action is. Some of those clouds could drift in, but generally the Anchorage area is going to be in a bit of a snow shadow. A lot of times we refer to it as a rain shadow, but here's a look at that area of low pressure. It continues to spin, but energy will move up from the south. There could be a secondary development of low pressure. And then as we head into late Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of those coastal sections will see that rain-snow mix. Higher elevations will see snow, but the Anchorage area, we're just on the edge of all the action. So it's possible that we could see some scattered snow flurries around the Anchorage area on Thanksgiving. Cold and clear into the interior. We pick up that wet weather and the warmer temperatures once you head south into the Panhandle, as well as Kodiak, 40 degrees, but you're going to see rain coming down pretty good at times. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast for Anchorage. Sunshine today, a high temperature of 19 degrees. And on Wednesday, increasing clouds, but still fairly dry. Wednesday night, though, that's our chance to see some snow flurries perhaps, but it is going for partly sunny skies on Thursday. So if those snow flurries happen, let's get them underway in the morning. Let's get them out. Let's get some sunshine and enjoy our Turkey Day. So not bad forecast for the coming days.
Well, the Food Bank of Alaska's Thanksgiving Blessing event took place at several different locations across Anchorage Monday. Georgina Fernandez was at one of those sites as hundreds came to take home a free holiday meal.
Households have been filling up boxes filled of Thanksgiving fixings during the Food Bank of Alaska's Thanksgiving blessing event aiming to feed hundreds of residents this week. The goal at this location here at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is to feed 1,000 households, an increase from last year when the site fed around 800.
And a gravy?
This site has been packed with people shopping around the church's gym, getting to choose for themselves the ingredients and all the Thanksgiving works they want for their holiday meal, with each household also getting a frozen turkey to go home with.
There's a lot of need in our community, and there's a lot of members of our community that are coming into hard times with a number of the changes that have happened and disruptions in their lives, and this provides them a little bit of a little cushion.
And if you aren't able to make it out on Monday evening, places like Beast Cafe are hosting a Thanksgiving feast on Thursday. You can find more details on that live right now on our website. Georgiana Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Well, there's something sweet to see at the Captain Cook Hotel. UAA's Culinary Arts Department has once again partnered with the hotel to begin construction on the soon-to-be Gingerbread Village display. This year's theme is the 1964 Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stop-motion film. The ingredients for the snow include 4 pounds of meringue powder, 2 pounds of cream of tartar, and a whopping 200 pounds of powdered sugar. That was just on Monday alone. The decorators will continue building the massive village throughout the week. The goal is to finish the project on Friday. And speaking of works of art, bus stops, signs all around Anchorage will be getting a new look soon. As Danny Tompkins tells us, People Mover is looking to incorporate local art into daily life.
Every day, 12,000 Alaskans wait at bus stops, staring at the same signs. That's about to change. This sign is about to get a makeover with art created by locals, along with the 679 other bus stop signs across the Anchorage area. The signs will spruce up the everyday for Alaskans.
Here's a history of how they've kind of progressed over the years, but this top sign hasn't been changed in a very long time, and it kind of looks more like a no parking sign than it is a bus stop sign.
And honor native land. One requirement for the contest was including the Dena'ina heritage.
A lot of our riders are Alaska Native, so it also represents who's riding the bus as well, and hopefully makes them brighten their day a little bit.
The team at People Mover was surprised at how many local artists entered the contest.
It is a lot. 77 was definitely way more than we expected. It shows that people are eager to have local art shown in their community, that people take pride in being in Anchorage, and they want that to be reflected in the signs that they see on the streets.
And the team was impressed by various works that were submitted.
A little nervous as to what people might submit, and overwhelmingly was surprised, and there are probably a good handful of designs that could have easily been the winner.
The finalists received $1,000 each and have until December 29th to develop their designs further.
So we got 3 different designs from 3 different perspectives. They're all very different. I think any 3 would work very well.
While the finalists' proposals are not available to the public, the other 73 art entries are on the People Mover website to enjoy. Now, instead of seeing those same metal signs, the 12,000 passengers will now see art that makes them smile and creativity that connects them to their community. Now, the final announcement comes early 2026, but the transformation has already begun. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.